Yep, about that distance and about right there. Yeah, perfect. Right. All right. Top of the hour's coming up. 30 seconds. Sure. The famous co-host. All right, here we go. Here we go. Back to manual. Podcast is rolling. Oh, you kill that fan. We just make a little noise. You ready, Alice?
I'm ready.
All right, let's rock.
It's 4 p.m. and time for the Chips and Salsa Show here on Central City Radio, King FM.
Your amigos in salsa are in the Molcajete now. George Ortiz.
And
Alice Lara, the only woman in radio who makes sense. It is time now for the Saturday edition of the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lara here, and the big announcement we start out with, Chipsters. First of all, welcome, Chipsters, to the Molcajete. And I've been doing solo stuff here for the last few weeks. I'm so excited and happy to welcome back my co-host, Don Jorge.
Hey, Lara, I'm back, and
Did that out of jail for
I'm
me?
back from my security sabbatical, and I'm happy today. I'm ecstatic. We're wearing James T. Harris shirts, and guess who showed up today?
We're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
That's like a little surprise.
and we have
for
other
us.
guests too.
Yeah, so first what I'd like to do, George, I want to say that today is Saturday, October 21st. Right on.
Yeah.
It's getting towards the end of the month here, and we've got a great show for you. We're going to tell you about it here in just a moment. Behind the Facebook cam, if you're watching this on Facebook, we have Secret Sonia. Yes! Secret Sonia, Secret Sonia. And also at that helm, taking care of us technically, is our technical director and owner of Central City Radio, Julian Allison. And a reminder, we also have an app available. You can go to Google, right, and download that app.
That's right.
So you can listen to us just
Load
right
that
on your
app.
phone. Download it right on Google. And if you want to do something like us, if you're interested in doing a show like that, just go to centralcityradio.com and contact Julian through there. He'd be happy to talk to you and set you up. Let's see. And then I also want to thank David Beasley, my nephew, who writes the music for the Chips and Salsa Show. And who created our logo is Monica Lara, who's also my great niece. It's all in the family here. In a little bit, we are going to have a very special guest, and we have these t-shirts, as George said, on for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's our good friend from Tucson, James T. Harris.
James T. Harris.
Yeah.
The man.
In just a moment, he's going to kind of co-host the show with us. We're so excited to have him. If you don't know who that is, you better stay tuned because you will be sorry if you don't. He's a great talk show host, probably one of the best, if not the best, in the nation.
Yep.
For conservative talk radio. He's based out of Tucson. I've had the pleasure, the honor of knowing him for a few years now, and we're so happy that he made time to be with us in the studio here. So, also, in addition to that, we have two other great guests that are going to be with us, and we have Jonathan Gelbart, who is running for Superintendent of Public Instruction for Arizona. We'll bring him on here probably in just a few minutes, and we're excited about that. Thank you for coming in, Jonathan.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And then also we have Renne Fontaine. And Renne Fontaine here, I was reading the newspaper, believe it or not, at work we get the newspaper. Did you know that, George? Actually,
You get
I
the
read
newspaper?
the newspaper once in a while, Arizona
Okay.
Public. And there's a little spot, the community section, and it talked about this great program called Blankets for Paws, PAWS. I said, oh wow, what's that? It's a really cool program you're going to want to hear about here in Maricopa County. So I called up Renne Fontaine, and she's coming in today, and she's going to talk to us about that, how you can help. If you're a big dog lover like I am, then you will not want to miss that as well. She brought her family in with her husband Tony, and her two beautiful kids.
That's a great cause.
Yeah, it is a great cause, so you won't want to miss that as well. Plus, we're going to talk politics. Our Cocotazo also of the week. We have some good ones, right, George?
Yep, we got some good doozies.
Yes, we'll have to have James T. help us out with that, right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll bring James T. in right now if you'd like. If you'd like to come on in with us. Enter in the studio.
Come on down.
The beautiful man is in the studio. Welcome, James.
How you doing?
T.
How you doing?
Oh, man, we're doing great. We're so happy that you could join us today.
Every time I come to Phoenix, you rope me into this, Alice.
That's
Alice, I'm sorry. It's just like I can't avoid it, and it's all right because you guys are good people.
Well, we love having you, and yeah, if I have to rope you, that's good. I'll do whatever I have to, because anytime you're here, we welcome you to this Chips and Salsa show.
Fantastic.
I was telling the audience that if they're not aware of who you are, they really need to be. Because I tell you what, a few years ago, I started kind of getting tired of the afternoon talk drive here in Phoenix. And I'm a talk radio person. I was a producer for KFYI for 5 years. And I'm very particular about my talk radio. And got introduced to you, James T., at one of our Arizona Federation of Republican Women functions. I'm like, how come I don't know about this guy? You know? So now I'm hooked. I listen to you on my phone or wherever. So tell the good people out there how they can listen to you.
I'm on 104.1 KQTH out of Tucson, Arizona. Been down there. We just celebrated our 6th year last week of being in the old Pueblo. And the beautiful women of Arizona, the Republican Club, brought me up. Sort of did a lot of speeches up in this area, also in Lake Havasu, in Yuma, just all across the state. But it's amazing with technology right now, with Facebook, with YouTube, you become syndicated in a sense, virtually.
You are virtually syndicated.
Yes.
I know that. Because
Like
you
you like
have.
to say on the show, worldwide. So you know, we have listeners who we put our show up on Facebook, and so now we pull in listeners from across the United States, England, Australia, Canada. They weigh in. So it's been a spectacular ride with talk radio for the last 6 years, and of course, you know, I met you through this whole thing, and so you, like I said, whenever I'm up in this area, you get me to come in for a little bit and hang out, and it's fantastic.
It's great, and you are virtually syndicated because I think James T, on your site, your Facebook site, you have something like 250,000 people that
Yes.
liked your page.
Yes.
Like that. And of course, we always like more.
They call me the general of the troll army. So
I like that. I like that. And James T is known as the beautiful man, or sometimes I like to share your show on, hey, that's pretty good for Latinos, isn't it? Share the show. On our Facebook site. And I call him El Hombre Hermoso.
El Hombre Hermoso. That's
Okay.
what it is.
Beautiful man in
That's a
Spanish?
beautiful man in Spanish.
Yeah. Because, and he is, he's a beautiful
well,
man.
yes, absolutely. I mean, that's what the first thing when people see me in person, they're like, oh, you are beautiful. I'm like, yeah, yes, you think I'm lying? So.
I just call him James T. Harris.
But you sleep in my shirt.
But I sleep
And
in
I
the
like
shirt.
that. I like that.
Hey, let's do an ad for these beautiful shirts. And you have beautiful hats because my
Yeah.
husband got one.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is jamesharris.com is where my shop is. You can get my gear, hats. I even have a James C. Harris bobblehead.
You have a bobblehead?
I do. It's a top-selling item.
Wow.
We need the bobblehead in here.
We do.
Absolutely.
Bobble
We have to
around.
get you a bobblehead next go around.
Very cool. I had no idea. Man. Are you going to be coming up to Phoenix and doing any events here soon that you know of?
No, actually, I don't have anything booked here for a bit. I have a lot of stuff actually booked down in Tucson, but throughout the month of November, first part of December. But in the new year, see, look at this. See, you guys have all the fun. What is this? The Western Conservative Conference.
Yeah.
Well, how come I'm not on this?
We just found out
Wait,
about
what is
that
this?
She just
today.
gave that to us.
Oh, Herman Cain, I see.
So we told her,
But you need to keep that one.
we told Vera, who's organizing this thing, that she needs to call you and have you on that.
So look at this. Jeff DeWitt's going to be here. Well, why did you? This is ridiculous. Yes. I just had Sheriff Joe's lawyer on my show. Dude, how can I be cut out of all of this?
That's right.
This
You
is
can't.
absurd. I'm sorry.
You can't, and you will. It's the Western Conservative Conference in March.
Excellent.
So, I mean, you might be back before then.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
We'll keep our viewers, listeners posted about that because they love you, and we love you. And we're so glad. And James T's going to be here for most of the show here to this hour. Very nice. He's going to help us interview our guests, Jonathan Gelbart and also Renne Fontaine.
And you can ask some interesting questions from our guests.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Always. It's true. We had a fun week. You know, we do a thing. Let's see, how much time do we have, Mr. Jimmy? A few minutes here? I'm thinking, why don't we do a cocotazo here with James? Right after
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Do you know what a cocotazo is, James?
No, I do not.
All right, cocotazo, which I learned. I'm like Mexican heritage.
It's a Puerto Rican
Puerto Rican thing.
term.
Okay.
When the kid acts out of place or something, they kind of
Hit him in the back of the head.
Yeah, or they're
Okay.
It's universal.
A slipper across the room.
So if you're going to ask me a question, if I get it wrong, you're going to hit me in the back of the head?
Well,
you get the cocotazo.
we could do that, but what we do each week is we take kind of events from the week, dumb things that people have done, and we award them the cocotazo of the week.
Ah,
And as
Very
you
good.
One of
know,
them is really interesting.
as you know, one of our nominees is the wannabe cowgirl.
I'm
Your
about to say,
girlfriend, right?
okay, you know what? We can end this right now. We can end this right now. It's got to be her.
It's got, that's my vote.
Yeah.
That's my vote. Who are the other
Oh,
two?
on so many levels. Well, one of them that we did also put on our Facebook site, the granny that doesn't like the dance. Did you see that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It looked like it was a wedding or something,
Yeah.
very formal, and
Yeah,
there were some young people
I still
doing
think the
a
cowboy hat
provocative
beats
dance.
that one. What's the next?
Still does, huh? Well, I asked you for the next one and you didn't have it.
I think that the cowboy hat
Yeah,
has
that's
got to
it.
be.
Yeah.
She's got to
Yeah.
be the Cocotazo Award
Takes it
because
all.
that was so dumb for her to do that, and he didn't mean no disrespect to the armed forces or to the mother of the soldier. He only did it. He only talked to her as the president would talk to any grieving widow. I think it was his wife.
It was the wife.
Yeah, any grieving widow of a soldier who had died in service.
Did
You
you
know.
also see there was another widow that released an audio, and this was from April, I thought, and it was so heart touching.
I played it on my show and actually kind of got emotional about it because not just how gentle the president was, how he had studied up on the soldier and shared with that. But it also is because just how disgusting of a political move this was, how you can politicize somebody's death, how you can politicize a woman who is grieving. She's one of your constituents, and how she had so much glee in it, had called herself a rock star. It
that's so
deserves
sad.
more than just a rap on the back of the head. What it did was it exposed just the real dark side of our politics, not our politics as a culture, but what's happening with liberals right now. I'm putting it right in their court. They have Trump derangement syndrome to the point where they can use someone's death and the rawness of it to try to damage the president. And it was disgusting, and I think it's still
Yeah, and they have no shame, and as you like to call it, ass hattery.
ass
Can you say
hattery.
ass cowboy hattery, maybe? We
Yeah,
do that.
that
And
works.
listen, y'all have to stay tuned. We've got more of James C. Harris coming up, and so stay tuned for more of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Central City Radio.
We'll be right back.
So yeah, you can see the look.
Now,
Al's the wrap-up queen.
during the commercial for on the radio station, we still go on for Facebook and YouTube. And is there anything you want to say about your program to the listeners
Have
on
it, so whatever you
Facebook
want.
and
You want to come in
YouTube?
so you
You know
want
what I
to
should
intro it?
do? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and link up to your site.
Yeah, I want to share mine too. We're going to come in with the praise
Can you link
report.
more than one site? Can you do this? Are you on Central City Radio site too? Do you have the?
I don't think so.
Have that
I
one?
should have that.
So this is Central City Radio.
And we also have Jonathan Gelbart. Do you want to say just a
Gelbart.
couple words about your campaign real quick? This is going out to Facebook. So.
Sure, yeah. So I just shared the live feed on my page, so hopefully a lot of people will tune in. So we'll be talking about my
Central
campaign
City
here on the
Radio
show.
is the-
My goal is to bring a fresh perspective and a new approach to the superintendent's office and running the Department of Education. Education is the most important thing that we can focus on for the future of Arizona, and that's why I'm running for this
Yeah, I
office.
got your audio good now.
And,
George. For some reason
so
I get-
I'm excited to be
I
here.
got that.
Thanks
Turn
again.
the game.
How's this coming out?
Oh, perfect. Everybody's good.
All right. What we're going to do is we're going to come in with the praise report, and then after the praise report, then we'll go to you and we'll start talking to you.
Great.
Did you tell them how they can go on your website and give you money and all that good stuff too?
Oh, I
Feel
didn't.
free to do that. Don't
Yeah,
ever forget
so
Say it again.
So very important. Gelbart4az.com is my website. Gelbart 4az.com. It's like Gilbert, but a little different. You can learn more about me. You can sign my petition. You can give money. Money's always important. And get all my contact information. Sign up for our email list.
Does it sound
So
right?
please visit my website.
Yes.
And we also want to mention Andy Zhang. He's one of our sponsors, and he's working with the Chinese Cultural Center to try to stop the city of Phoenix from the new owner from demolishing it. And they're making really good progress. So we want to do a shout out to Andy Zhang and the Chinese community that is all they're in mass protesting the city hall and also they've gotten a stay for the demolition of the roof and some other parts of that Chinese Cultural Center. So if you can, go to our site and support the Chinese community and Andy Zhang and their quest for that Chinese Cultural Center. So don't forget.
And he's doing pretty good, right? He's got a
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah,
signatures.
they've been protesting in front of
1
City
minute.
Hall.
1
Yeah,
minute.
he's been doing really well. So I've got
Just
that.
cue me on
And if
right
you-
to their.
right.
Okay, 1 minute still.
Lara.
If
If
you get this in the mail, this is your ballot. Please don't throw it away. Mail it. There's a you're gonna have to put your ballot in this green envelope. Make sure you sign it. It must be signed. That's very important that you sign this green envelope with the ballot in it and put it at your nearest post office or bring it down to one of the polling places. And there are 3 ways of doing it. Is you get the ballot, you put it in an envelope, and they put it in the mailbox. Really simple. And make sure you sign the green envelope.
All right, 10 seconds. Stand by.
So anyway, that's my infomercial for the county recorder.
Driving. Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Like, okay, so I'm really confused because like my dad's Latino and my mom is white, so does that mean I can only listen to like half of Chips and Salsa?
That's the smartest thing I've ever heard anyone say about anything.
It is the smartest thing. That's one of my favorite rejoiners. I'm sorry, I wrote it's one of my favorites. Hey, this is Alice Lara. You're here on the Saturday edition of the Chips and Salsa Show on Central City Radio. My good friend Don Jorge is back on the scene with us. We're so happy to have you back.
I'm back, and I'm here to stay for a few weeks because I'm going on another sabbatical in November, so I think for one Saturday.
One of these shows, maybe next show, we're going to have to talk about all the election stuff that you've been learning
Yeah,
because you're behind the scenes.
I go to a
there.
special class this Wednesday. I'll be locked in the county recorder's building for 5 hours. We even eat lunch in there. We can't leave for lunch. And they train us to be county recorders, the new program. And I'll be a certified Hispanic person helping, because I'm a troubleshooter normally, but this is a special thing that they're doing, because this election is a small election, but they're gearing up for the big election.
And this is
next
all
year.
mail-in ballot, right?
It's all mail-in ballot. Everybody got a mail-in ballot in the mail that's a registered voter
The county.
in the county. And also, they can come and vote at the polling places. There'll be some polling places set up. I'll be at one of the polling places, making sure that everything goes
Great.
according to
We'll have more to come on that. We're gonna also talk. We're gonna do the Pray for Point here in just a moment, and we'll come back and discuss more with our good friend James T. Harris, radio talk show host out of Tucson, KQTH. And then also we're going to talk to our candidate Jonathan Gelbart, who's running for Superintendent of Public Instruction in Arizona. So if you haven't ever heard Jeff Prather, we have him here every week. He gives us a couple of minutes of his little pulse of the world. He's a fast and furious whistleblower behind the scenes. And so now, listen to the Pre-Round with Jeff Prather.
Ex-government insider, DEA special agent, DIA intelligence officer, Army Special Operations intelligence officer, fast and furious whistleblower, now living outside the box, speaking truth to power on the Chips and Salsa Show with this week's Prather Point. Many big stories this week that the propaganda press is not telling you. The first is California, Oregon, Wisconsin, just to mention a few, are now admitting that DHS and other states are saying the same thing as well, that Russia did not hack their elections as they have claimed. They simply scanned them, like everything gets scammed. I work cybersecurity for international corporations. It's my day job. Everything is getting scanned all the time, but they are now admitting they did not actually get hacked. Why are they doing that? Well, remember that President Trump initiated an investigation into this as well, and of course the Mueller investigation, and now they're actually having to tell the truth or get caught telling a lie, perjuring themselves, and they don't have Hillary Clinton's and Bill Clinton's pull to just lie and perjure themselves endlessly. The next thing that is very, very important is that the Trump widow story is also a propaganda press ploy. And by the way, I posted all 4 fallen members of the Special Forces group on my Facebook page a couple weeks ago. Said pray for them. But the whole thing here with the young soldier, who was not yet Special Forces qualified, which does not mean anything that he didn't give his life and wasn't a patriot, but the propaganda press is trying to turn this into Trump's Benghazi. They are saying so. Whatever the left is doing, they accuse the right, us, of. And in this case, they are trying to live down the Benghazi legacy and make Trump have his own Benghazi. It doesn't work, it's a lie, and it's not going to stand up. But why are they doing that now? Well, because finally Bergdahl has pled guilty to desertion and a rare but very serious charge of misbehavior in front of the enemy, which carries a life sentence. As everybody in the profession, we all knew was true, it cost lives, KIA and WIA, to try and rescue him. And remember that Obama had his dad declare for the caliphate in Arabic in the White House while he was creepily groping Bergdahl's mom. And the real, of course, Russia scandal is with the uranium Clinton-Obama debacle, which I've talked about in the past. Anyway, the Dems continue to disintegrate, but the rhinos aren't much better. We need to vote them all out of office. This is Jeff Prather on the Chips and Salsa Show. For more Prather, go to pratherpoint.com.
And that was Jeff Prather. Thank you, Jeff. I just want to tell you also, he is going to be doing Trump versus the Swamp, the Inside Story. That's at 9 a.m. October 28th at the Tucson Conservative Forum. And that's scheduled in the Hungry Fox at 4637 East Broadway Road in Tucson. It's 8 o'clock breakfast, $11 a person, pretty affordable. You can call 520-241-7690. That's 520-241-7690 if you'd like to attend that. And now, we turn to the rest of our show. We have James T. Harris is in studio with us here to share. Do you have any commentary? I mean, I know, James, I'm going to have to admit, this has been a crazy week. For me, I have not been able to listen to a lot of your show, and I know you have such good, meaty stories on there. Do you have any last-second comments on Jeff's commentary?
But Jeff Prather was saying, as far as the swamp being drained, it's true. What's happening with it's strange. All this stuff is coming up at the same time, and it's because there are still too many truth tellers in these institutions. So the real scandal, the real collusion was with Bill and Hillary Clinton, Obama, Putin, and Uranium One. It's mind-boggling how they're spending all this time going after Trump for nothing that exists. But the Democrats tend to project. So when you're talking about collusion, they're really talking about themselves. There's nothing. After months of investigation, they come up with nothing on Trump. But I mean, if the Clintons and Obama are target rich, all of a sudden this week in the news we hear about Clinton and Loretta Lynch at Sky Harbor Airport again. All of a sudden in the news we hear about James Comey. His name is popping up again because he lied about Hillary Clinton. He already had written her exoneration note before they even interviewed her. All of this stuff is coming up. We get frustrated with Sessions. We get frustrated with the DOJ because they're not doing enough. And yet, there's still, stuff is coming up. And meanwhile, President Trump is moving forward as far as advancing his administration with his pen and his phone. We want more Congress action. What's beautiful about it, though, he's deconstructing with his executive orders and putting it right back into Congress and the Senate's lap, telling them to do your job. What we're watching is a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing, beautiful man. I totally agree with you. You just summed that up so nicely.
Oh, thank you.
And now another nice thing we're going to go to. We're going to talk to another guest we have in studio with us, and that's Jonathan Gelbart. Welcome to the Chips and Salsa Show.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
We're happy to have you. And first of all, we're going to, we have a few minutes. If you can stay, we might just keep you into the next segment.
Sure.
We have to ask you your reason why you are running for Arizona State Superintendent of Public Instruction, which is a big deal, statewide office. So go for it, Jonathan.
Sure. So I'm running for this office because, number one, I'm an Arizona kid, born and raised here. My family's been here for a long time, and I really care about the future of Arizona. And there's nothing more important for ensuring a successful, bright future for Arizona than the education system. And having gone to our public schools here and then worked for the Basis charter school system, I know what we're capable of, and I really want to help us get there.
Well, BASIS is a very well-known, and everybody that I know that has been in touch with that school or has kids going to that school, very impressive. So you are a product of that school.
Well, I'm not a graduate, but I worked for them.
You worked.
And so my role with them was Director of Charter School Development. I was responsible for opening all their new campuses. So BASIS we have in Arizona 5 of the top 7 best high schools in the country. And they're all, out of those are BASIS charter schools. And out of those 5, I opened 3 of those campuses. BASIS Scottsdale, BASIS Peoria, and BASIS Chandler. And so it was just a great opportunity to really learn what great schools look like, what they need to be successful, and I'm very proud of what I did with them. The schools that I helped open are today serving more than 10,000 kids, including about 1 in 140 kids here in Arizona statewide.
That's highly impressive. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want to toss it to the guys so they can ask. But one of the things that immediately when I see you, because there are about 4 other people in the race, I think, at this point, but your youthfulness will stand out, of course. And there's still kind of, people say, oh, that guy's too young, he doesn't know what he's doing. How are you going to fight that?
Great question. So you look around the world, around the country and around the world, there's a wave of young leaders coming. In Austria, they actually just elected a 31-year-old guy to be chancellor of the whole country. So it's not out of the question at all for the youth to be kind of on the rise.
So how old are you, like 16?
I'm 28 right now. A little older than 16. I can vote.
You look 14.
I can vote. And no, but it's not about age, it's about experience. And I mean, with BASIS, I've again worked on 15 of their schools. I coordinated $250 million of financing for their campuses. And so there's a lot of people who don't get to that kind of impact in their whole career. And so I really feel that I can add a lot of value to this office and be an asset to our kids statewide.
What is the biggest problem you can identify that's happening right now? You re-elected Diane Douglas, and there are some things we're not maybe happy with. Also say that, but it was a change. And what are the things that you think we need to change or pay the most attention to?
Right. So if you're talking about specifically what I would be responsible for as superintendent, number one is running the State Department of Education well and efficiently. And so I want to rebuild a culture of service at the department and instill a mission of supporting the schools. Right now, it's a lot more focused on compliance and paperwork and punishing schools when they don't check the right boxes. And we can't have that. The schools and our kids need an advocate in the superintendent's office, and I intend to be an advocate for all 1.1 million kids in Arizona and all types of public schools. And so that'll be my number one focus. Beyond that, if you look at the bigger picture of what are we doing in education in Arizona, I personally think that funding is a big issue, but even bigger than that is low expectations. I think a lot of times we sell ourselves short here in Arizona on education, and so we need to think big, we need to dream big, and really build a next generation school system. I think we can be national leaders in that.
Did you take a position on Proposition 123? This is about the school funding.
Right. So Prop 123 was the distribution of funds from the state land trust. I thought it was a great solution to get funds to the schools without raising taxes. So there are people who are on both sides of that issue, and I think there's pretty broad consensus that it was just the beginning, that we do need more funding into the schools, but it was a good start and a good way to settle the lawsuit that had been out there.
Along those same lines, just recently, Doug Ducey was criticized because he gave some high raises to some of his people that are under him, and the teachers aren't getting raises. Now, one of the things about that, though, I'm thinking there are a lot more teachers than employees that we're talking about. Do you have any commentary about that?
Mm-hmm. Right, that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say. You got more than 50,000 teachers here in Arizona, so if you wanted to give every teacher a $1,000 raise, that would cost $50 million. So it's just the dollars, the number of people involved is just apples and oranges.
All right, go ahead, George.
But don't you think that some of the teachers and professors are teaching our kids to be liberals instead of just being in the middle and not taking one side or the other? We get a lot of complaints from the teachers trying to indoctrinate our kids. I know in Tucson they got the big problem of the Chicano studies and how they teach them in a certain way. Tucson belongs in Mexico and stuff like that. That it doesn't need to be taught in school. The kids their minds are so innocent,
And
especially
George,
the elementary schools.
Jonathan can wrap that up when he comes back, because we got a break now for a commercial. So please stay tuned to Central City Radio here with the Chips and Salsa Show. Don't go away. Sorry, I had to cut you off. So we come back, finish that.
Okay. It's a 3-minute break here.
George, you're going to come in and you're going to bring it in so you can follow up with your question. And then at the end, remember, you're going to do one treat. I was going to announce too that you're going to do this forum in Sun City West,
Yeah, that's in January. Did Claire just email you?
January 6th.
Yeah.
Okay, announce that to you as well.
Who else is confirmed?
There's
It
like three.
says that you're confirmed,
Stand up
and
and stop taking abuse from your kids.
Tracy,
I'm
look at
Janet
something
Newman,
like this
co-creator of the Total Transformation Program. We created the Total Transformation to help parents
Yeah.
with difficult child
That's it.
behavior. Now I'm giving you a
Frank Riggs hasn't confirmed. I know
but it's January. This is the first I just heard about.
I want to mention on Facebook one of our sponsors, Nexus Industries LLC. They do custom woodwork and ironwork, and they can be. They're very reasonable on their prices. We encourage you to call them, use their services if you need woodwork or ironwork at your house, and a lot of homeowners do woodwork. Contact Cameron Ashley at 480-212-3252, and he'll give you quotes and he'll send you pictures of what he can do, and he'll do you a free estimate, and I think you'll be very satisfied with his work. Again, that's Nexus Industries LLC, one of our proud sponsors of our show. And the other sponsor is Andy Zhang, which I mentioned earlier. So tune into our blogs regarding the Chinese Cultural Center and keep abreast of we try to post what's happening with the Chinese Cultural Center. It's very important to the Chinese community and for really all the community in Arizona.
All right, 1 minute.
Because
1 minute.
we have a lot of people that like to visit the Chinese Cultural Center and learn from ancient Chinese artwork.
Someone asked if we had security for James T.
Oh, really?
What happened?
Security.
So have you got security for James T.
Who is it?
today? David. The one-
David LeBlanc?
Yeah.
Got Secret Service out there.
I don't know if he's hearing, but I
I'm
would
here.
say, security.
I'm here. We got security. I'm here.
Yeah.
George
Just
got it.
security.
George
I got it
it.
covered. I'm security. I'm a certified security person. So.
David LeBlanc's right there.
Certified. I'm certified. I won't say if I'm
Yeah,
carrying
30
or not.
seconds. Hey, I want to tell you guys that Sun City West is going to plan 8:30 a.m. candidates forum January 6th.
10 seconds, stand by.
So
10
we'll tell you more
seconds.
about that.
866-855-6516. Again, call 866-855-6516. That's 866-855-6516.
Yeah. I love Chips and Salsa. And yes, you can listen to, everybody can listen to the Chips and Salsa show. I'm glad to be back on the show with my host, Alice Lara.
Thank you, Scorpion King. Rey de Alacran.
And we have our missing in action right now, James C. Harris, but he'll be right back.
And don't worry, David LeBlanc was asking if we have security for James T.
Yeah.
And George has the answer.
Yeah, I am certified security, so James C. has security today. And I won't say if I'm carrying or not, but he is well taken care of.
Thank you.
We have security for James C. Harris today.
David LeBlanc was asking if we had security for you, James T.
You know,
So
sometimes things get crazy. Things get crazy.
And we have we've been interviewing as a guest here, Jonathan Gelbart.
Jonathan Gelbart.
Gelbart, thank you.
Gelbart. I'm thinking
Gelbart.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask if you lives in Gilbert, but it's
Yeah.
Gelbart.
Oh, that thing.
We don't want to give you a cocotazo, George.
I know, I need
Look at his name
Yeah,
tag.
see, I got it right on
Come
my
on, you
pin.
can do it, George. Come on.
Like the Bart.
Gelbart.
There you go.
Okay, we were talking about Tucson's education over there of Chicano studies and how their influence, and teachers' influence in general, students on the liberal point of view, because a lot of them come from colleges where they've been taught liberalism, and that's all they think about. They don't think about, you know, a child that you don't want to influence them in any way. You know, let them grow up to be independent, Democrat, Republican on their own, but not influence them, because they're prisoners in that classroom, and they have to listen to the professors or the teachers. In Tucson, it's Hispanic studies and the Chicano studies, and the kids, you know, they're in Hispanic families, so they're telling them, no, you have to be, you know, you're a Chicano first, you're Mexican American. They're all Mexican Americans
So
or
are you
Latin
trying to ask
American.
Jonathan what his
Yeah,
viewpoint is on
what
that?
is your? Well, I can go on for hours.
You just don't have much time, George.
So how would you answer that, Jonathan?
Yeah, so there's really two different questions here. You've got at the university level, I think it's a big problem. You know, you've got not only that kind of left-leaning tendency at most universities, but then you've got this free speech issue where when conservatives come to speak on these campuses, they get shouted down or they're not allowed to come in the first place, and so that's a huge problem, and thankfully that's getting a lot of attention.
A lot of your teachers are coming from the university level.
Sure.
So their mindset's already like that, so they're teaching young kids.
Mhm.
That's what I'm asking you. On,
Right.
on the elementary and high school levels where
Right.
you're going to be, that's your purview.
Sure. So K-12, yeah, it's very important to be teaching civics and U.S. history and teaching about the founding fathers and the Constitution, what our country is founded on, and making sure that kids understand that and they understand the real philosophies that are in our ideals in this country.
Jonathan, I have a quick question. I recently had to do something with a customer service person online, and it was about a medical billing. The woman was telling me she had just talked to a 97-year-old man, and she goes, this guy was coherent, man. He knew what he was talking about. And her experience with the younger people, they don't have very good communication skills is what I'm getting. So I'm very concerned about that in the dumbed down in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the way I would respond to that is you really need more real-world applications in schools, more project-based learning where the kids are doing hands-on activities, working in teams, learning collaboration skills, rather than just book work and rote memorization. I think that's really important. Combined with that, you have the issue today of smartphones, and kids feel more comfortable texting than talking with each other, and so again, that's why the more that you have teamwork and presentations and things like that where kids are able to practice those skills in school is just really important.
So your election is in November. What can you say about this office that people typically don't associate it with, and the powers that you can do?
Right, great question. So a lot of people don't know exactly what this office is responsible for. So the main thing that I mentioned earlier is running the State Department of Education. And so the State Department of Education manages the flow of funds to the schools, manages things like Title I funding from the federal government, and state funding, and also the rollout of standardized testing and things like that. But it's just implementing all those things, not deciding how much money or things like that. The other thing the superintendent does is has a seat on the State Board of Education. And so the superintendent has one seat out of 11. The other 10 are appointed by the governor. And so those are really the two main things that the superintendent does. So it's, again, more about implementation of policy than setting policy. And that's something that a lot of people don't know.
Did you have a question, James?
No, I mean, you have, I think you have Frank Riggs, you're looking at Dee Dee, Diane Douglas, and who's the other candidate? Is there another one?
Tracy Livingston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got a few, but the way I look at it is all the other candidates in this office are the same thing in different packaging. I'm bringing something completely different. Grew up here, worked my way from public high school into Stanford. I have 2 degrees from Stanford, including a master's in engineering, and so and then to go from that to the basis charter schools, I have a really great understanding of school operations and school finance and school budgets, and that's a huge part of this job.
What would you do different than the other one? You're saying that because you grew up here, that you would be different than the other ones that are running? Because they all have pretty good credentials.
Well, it's not just that. It's the combination of my whole background. You know, I think my age is actually a great advantage, that I have a better understanding of what it's like to be in school. I can understand the kids that are still in school today and how they go through, you know, this constant standardized testing and schools with all sorts of technology. When my competitors were in school, the world was totally different. And we need to build a new education system. What I've been saying on the campaign trail is the system, the whole system today reminds me of a Model T. It's from the same era, 100 years ago. We keep kind of patching it up and trying to modernize it and trying to keep up with other states, but we need a new car, and that's what I want to bring.
Well, John, I want to thank you very much for being here today. We're going to let you go this segment, and we hope you come back and visit again.
All right.
Thank you, and we'll have your information on the website and our Facebook site as well.
Right.
Now,
So
George, we got to pay some bills, so thank you very much, John.
yeah. So my website's Gelbart4az.com. It's like Gilbert but different. GELBART 4az.com. Please join my email list, sign my petition, and give money if you're impressed with what you've heard. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I want to announce the sponsor for this segment is One Truth. And the song that you're going to hear is called Inferno. Inferno is about an inner collapse that we all experience, which threatens to destroy or hinder us, and the struggle to remain the faith, determination, and belief in yourself and your dreams that is required in order to ultimately know salvation. Now here's their song.
You might have stepped all over it, Jordan. But that's all right, though. How much did you get in? You got more to get in after?
No, I'm just going to
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, George nailed it.
Woo-hoo, George.
You nailed it. I listened to the delay. You nailed it right when they started singing. You stopped. Good job, George.
I try to go fast.
That's your
No, that's mine. That one's,
However
yeah,
you
that's
did it,
his.
you probably do the same way every time.
Yeah, because Ocean of Dreams is about the same.
Yeah. Nice intro.
I was reading what that was.
All right, stand by. Back in George now.
That was One Truth with Inferno, and you can get the song from iTunes. And we'll be right back with more of the Chips and Salsa show.
All right, we got it.
All right, you got it.
This will be 2 minutes. 2-minute break.
Hey, I want to go ahead. I'm going to use the Facebook time.
Yeah, next week
I want to talk about AZFRW. That's Arizona Federation of Republican
Send you
Women.
some more music.
It's going to be a great speaker there. He's been on our show before, and he's my good friend now. He's Jesse Romero. He is a Catholic evangelical evangelist. And he wrote this wonderful book. It's called Knocked Off the Donkey, Burro No More. And he just tells of his tales. He was a Democrat and became a Republican. He's just one of the featured guests. If you want more information, just go to azfrw.com. That stands for Arizona Federation of Republican Women, but you go to azfrw.com. Thank you so much. We'll be back here in just a moment. Thank you, Sonia, behind the scene. And let us know how this thing's... Sonia's using a new tool today. She's got, what do you call it, a selfie stick? A selfie stick. And is it working better for you, do you think? All right.
Easier.
All right, 1 minute.
Let us
1
know
minute.
on Facebook if you want. Coming up, we have a really good guest. We have Renne Fontaine with us, and she's going to talk about blankets for Paws. So you will not want to miss this. So tell your friends, if you haven't yet, please share this site and share it to your own Facebook profile. You can share it later if you want to as well, and just watch the whole show again. We appreciate it, and we're always looking for sponsors too. And like our page. Sorry to be a nag. I feel like I'm always saying, do this, do that, do that. Just we appreciate you guys listening to our show and watching. Thanks. Next.
George nailed it. Proud of you, George. Make me happy. I couldn't hear it as it was going. I was like, okay, George, back it up. I couldn't tell, but...
Okay, did we get everything done?
All right, 10 seconds, stand by.
All right.
To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You can take pictures, come in here, it's all good. And you know what? We do have fancy hats on today, George, huh? Because we both brought in our Make America Great hats again. Da 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 da! I'm going to take mine off because it's a little warm in here, that's why. I'm Alice Lara, here on the Chips and Salsa Show with Don Jorge.
El Alacran,
He's back, he's out of jail or wherever he was, I don't know. You're busy working.
the deplorable, Hillary's deplorable.
Yeah. Busy working. And I know somebody else who's been really busy working too, is Renne Fontaine. We're going to bring her on. Welcome to the show, Renne.
Thanks for having me.
We're so excited. I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about you.
Okay.
I found you through an article in the newspaper in the Arizona Republic. And yes, my boss gets it at work. So once in a while, I look through the hard copy of the newspaper, and that's where I found you. But she is a children's book author in Scottsdale, and she's conducting her 7th annual independent blanket and towel drive for animals at Maricopa County Animal Control's West Valley and East Valley locations and other local shelters. So she's looking to surpass last year's drive. She collected 4,000 blankets and towels. Man, hats off to you, girl. And with one of the highest euthanasia rates in the country, Fontaine hopes to raise awareness and encourage residents to adopt from the shelters. So if you'd like more information, she's going to tell you about that. You can email her too. It's Renne, R-E-N-E-E, Fontaine, F-O-N-T-A-I-N-E, @hotmail.com. I'm a huge, big animal lover. I'd be like the old cat ladies that have, the 20, 30 cats. If I could, I'd have the 20, 30 dogs in my house.
That's how I am.
Oh,
I've been like that since I was a little girl.
How many dogs do you have?
Well, I only have one now. She has congestive heart failure, so she has to be the only one. But how I started this is I used to volunteer at our shelters. I did it for about a year and a half, and it was so emotionally draining on me that I just couldn't do it anymore because of just seeing just how sad and our situation here in Arizona. Like you mentioned, we are the 2nd highest kill rate shelter, California being number 1. So the comparison of California being so much more bigger than us, it just shows you we're kind of like an epidemic with no cure to be number 2. So I started volunteering, and then after that, when I couldn't volunteer anymore, I decided, what can I do to still help? So I started to make awareness and start collecting blankets, because without that, the animals are on the hard concrete floors in the shelters. So I started it 7 years ago. When I did it 7 years ago, I thought I was doing such a big accomplishment. I think my first year I collected 250 blankets, and then I realized that each shelter had over 700 kennels.
Wow.
So my 250 was nothing. So I just kept on going. There was times that I thought, I'm not making a difference, so I might as well stop, but I just kept it going. 7 years later, I'm at over 4,000.
That is
collecting.
fantastic.
And it helps because, public awareness, being on here, like you said, you found me in the Arizona Republic. It's getting bigger and bigger, and I think we even talked about it. I think when it comes to our shelters, people are out of sight, out of mind. They don't want to go because they're sad. It makes them, emotional. But just to save that one life makes a difference.
Yeah, I'm afraid to go like we shared during the break because I'll bring home 10 dogs with me. Clients won't let me, but I still want to do that.
I know.
It's really true.
So this is like another way to help. So anybody who can't bring themselves to going to the shelter because it's emotional and it's sad for them, I still encourage to go to your shelters because, like I said, that one life is one life that made it out of the shelter. But if you can't go there to adopt or to just look, or even to volunteer, then another way is to contribute to this very important cause, which is the blanket and towel drive.
Now, today I brought you some stuff, but I also brought you some other collars. I had a harness for my dog. That's all those things are okay?
All perfect, yes. Because that's the thing, you gotta remember our county shelters are government funded, so there's not a lot of money behind our shelters. So really, volunteers, anybody who donates their time, basically is what keeps our shelters going. So anybody who goes there and walks the dogs, or like me, collects blankets, that's how they really run more than anything, because there's really no money behind our shelters.
So tell our audience that the best way to do that, to go to the shelters or call you.
I mean, of course, I encourage people to go to our county shelters, our Maricopa County shelters, because without people going there, they're not going to make it out, our animals. But like I said, if you cannot go there just because it's too emotional, if you want to contribute to the blanket drive, every year, as everybody knows, we do get cold here. People think Arizona is not that cold, but we do get cold. They do not have heat because of the fact that they're indoor-outdoor runs, so there's a guillotine door. So in the daytime, they can go outside, and then at night, that guillotine door is closed. But because of that, they can't have the heat or air condition, for that matter, in the summers. So in the winter months, we get extremely cold here, and think of it as a cold, hard concrete floor. So I've noticed, and also people that volunteer at the shelters have noticed a difference in just the animals, because when we do blanket the kennels every night, there's not one animal that does not go on a blanket and curl up on it. It's a remembrance of a home they once had. So it also makes their demeanor change, so when the public does come in to adopt, they see that that dog's not cowering, that dog isn't in the back of the kennel. It's got more personality because of just that simple little comfort of a blanket helped them to be more, not as scared in the shelter. So we've also seen that. So not only does it provide warmth and comfort for them, it has also been providing them confidence and not being as afraid.
I never even thought about that for a blanket. You had a dog, your Farfadoodle?
My Farfadoodle. He passed away. He had heart failure. He was a good dog. Things started to kind of go wrong. They went south fast, and then one day he couldn't use his hind legs. And then we took him to the vet, and they said, "Well, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this." But I'm like, "Look, man, it's time." So I got a question for you. Could you say if people want to go to the shelter, don't you mean if they want a pet?
Correct.
Go to the shelter.
And not only that, to volunteer.
Okay.
Because that's another thing. Without volunteers, we don't get the laundry done, the blankets that we are donating for the shelter. We don't get them out of their kennels every single day to walk. And again, that all brings them out of their shell and makes them easier to get adopted when the public goes. So really, there's all avenues about going to the shelter. If you're not looking to find a pet because you already have an abundance or you have one or whatever, maybe even just go there and volunteer an hour of your time there.
Well, yeah, I'm like Laura, I did not think about the impact of the animal having just a place. And also, it's kind of extraordinary. You said you've grown to like about 7,000?
I think this year I'll be a little over 6,000.
Yeah, this is what's incredible is that and the volunteers, of course, you leave them in there for a couple of days, and then the whole laundry service, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's a big undertaking, but
it
is. At first I'm listening to you like, wow, that's just a lot of work for a blanket, but no, I'm glad that you gave the backstory of how the dog having something that's familiar and something comfortable changes the dog's behavior, so that when someone does come to look to adopt, he has a better chance. The dog has a better chance. That's you know what? Those are heart things.
Yeah.
That hard-headed people like me don't see.
Well, it's funny because when I started this 7 years ago, I didn't even look at it that way. Because I was actually in the shelters volunteering, I was like, oh my God, without, what are they laying on? Like, especially the older ones, the seniors and the sick ones.
I never thought of that.
So when I first started it, I saw it as just for something for them other than a hard floor. But now, 7 years later, I've seen, like the last 3 years, the demeanor, the change, literally the minute you put it down on the floor, how they just go and they go around in circles to find their perfect little spot, and they smell it, and then they nestle in. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just...
The last 3 months of my dog's life, he spent on a nice soft pad. We just put it outside to just sort of like sit and watch over the yard.
Right.
And he would have difficulty standing up and stuff like that, but that's where he parked. And so as you were telling that story, that's what I was thinking, like, wow, I mean, that's where my Farfadoodle, that's what he did.
Right.
He couldn't do much, but he was so comfortable on that little pillow.
Right. And like I said, we are a high kill shelter, our state is. And, a lot of them don't make it out, but I'll say it, the way I can sleep at night because, volunteering and seeing it firsthand, I see it as at least they had a little something, a little piece of maybe, like I said, a remembrance of home, or just that little bit of comfort that made them not as scared, even if they don't.
A better ending for them. I will tell you though, this is so cool. In this last week, 2 of my friends on Facebook had lost dogs. Now with Facebook and social media, a lot of times it's easier for them to find. They both were found. The dogs were found, and so I'm very encouraged by that.
Yes.
What's interesting, I was reading tips. They said, don't forget and go to the shelter every day.
Oh yes,
Because
that's the thing.
Every day.
And people think putting up flyers is enough. It isn't. because that animal could be picked up by just a person that found the animal or by animal control. You gotta always check your shelters. And the biggest thing is to chip them, because then for sure you're gonna be able to find where they are.
And don't go to the shelter just to pick up a cat for Halloween.
No.
People do that.
No, you're right.
Oh,
Just like,
gosh.
Yes, you are right.
Pick up a pet to be part of your family.
Exactly, and it's for life.
For life.
Renee,
Because they're family.
we're down to like the last minute and a half, and I hope we're going to extend the show a little bit more. James, he's going to hang around with us too. Go ahead and give us more information and how to contact you, maybe.
Yeah, well, the best way to contact me is through email. My email is Renne, RenneeFontaine @hotmail.com. And basically what I've been doing is I've been running all over the state picking up donations, and I have a lot of great people that have been helping me pick up. So if it's their area, they've been doing it for me. If it's in more my area, then I've been doing it. And then of course people that are close to the shelter, I've been giving them the directions to go directly to the shelter and drop them off.
What if they're in Tucson or something, would they want to donate?
I'm sure Tucson has their local shelters. I'm not quite sure who it is in Tucson, but Google search, you can just, every county and city has
You
their
have
shelters.
you're in a great cause. Pets
yeah.
need, the pets need that.
Yeah, I hope the legacy continues, because God forbid if I can't do it
You're
one
trying
day.
for 4,000 blankets now.
I'm over 6, I'll be like over 6,000.
That's
God bless you.
fantastic. And everybody has blankets. They're like, I don't know what to do, but you don't want to get rid of them. Everybody has a blanket.
There's another one. I got 3 of them. I was about to go toss them.
Okay.
Now I'm going to have to go give them to the...
And you're going to get rid of the shelter. Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
We got to close the show, unfortunately. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, James T, and thanks for hanging out. We're going to do like at least another half hour of our show, so please hang on tight for more of the Chips and Salsa Show here with Alice Lara.
And Jorge.
James T's coming back. Thank you, Renne Fontaine. And Sonia's here too. Yeah, I just love that. Thank you so much.